Uh, sure. So I just got done talking to someone who I ain't talked to in a good while, but it kind of made me think. Use the time that you got now wisely, especially if you young. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, get on top of what it is you doing. Like what a lot of our parents I feel like have told us. That's not necessarily what I mean. I kind of mean don't be afraid to improve on yourself. Like don't limit yourself from improving. I'm not saying you gotta change who you are in order to be accepted or in order to have made progress. That's not what I mean. But don't be too comfortable. You know, be open to change. Be open to bettering yourself. I feel like it's really just as simple as that. I think being who you are is a blessing, but remaining to be who you are is a curse. Because who you remain to be is a sign of who you will never become. And I feel like that for every one of us is the best version of ourselves. Y'all feel what I mean? So it's kind of like a head scratcher. I don't know if I'm explaining it and giving it any justice.
Which is superior?
But cherish the moments that you have now. If you young, if you in school, I get. Don't get me wrong. When I was in school, bro, I hated it. I did. The only year I really enjoyed was my senior year of high school. So I get it if you don't like it. And I'm not going to judge you for that. I don't think you have to force yourself to like something. But I will say, try to make it fun. Because it is possible. My senior year, the main reason I really enjoyed my senior year isn't because it was just a good year. It was one of my most difficult years I've ever had in high school. When it comes to workload and everything, I had to make up 3 years of high school. Everything that I failed during COVID and being online, I had to make it up all in my senior year in order to graduate. So it wasn't an easy year for me, but I just made it fun. I took risks. I didn't contain myself to what everyone else wanted me to do. Everyone else wanted me to show up to class on time 100% of the time. Don't ever miss a day of school. Make sure you're getting all your work done. Go for straight A's. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't enjoyable. So in order for me to want to be engaged with my school, I had to come up with something. And I'm not sitting here telling you, oh, you should skip class and go do this and go do that, but just make things enjoyable. As long as you're not hurting nobody else and you're willing to accept whatever it is that you're doing, I don't really feel like that's a problem. If it's put on your heart, or if it's not, yeah, if it's put on your heart, and a lot of people won't agree with me when I say this, but if it's put on your heart to walk out of school or to skip class or something in order to help you cope, then, bro, what's the issue? Now, I know that sounds crazy, but let me give you a little testimony right quick. When I was younger, well, really, it was my junior year. The first day of my junior year in high school, I walked out of school, right? Now, my junior year was my first year back because when COVID hit and all of the schools and stuff shut down, it was in the middle of 9th grade. It was in like March. I still remember it to this day. Said over the announcements, everyone's leaving for 14 days and we'll come back. It's a 14-day break, right? Never returned to that school since. I ended up leaving that school. I got kicked out of it because I ended up failing my classes while I was up there. And it's one of those schools that you get accepted to. You feel me? But anyways, I got kicked out. And then I started going to this other school, my 10th grade year. And my 10th grade year was completely online. I think I passed maybe 1 or 2 classes that entire year, right? My junior year, It was my first day in school, and I was going into my junior year with the credits of a sophomore, just barely over a freshman. So first day of school, they put me in a freshman English class, a class that I failed my ninth grade year. And I remember when lunch came, I remember sitting in there and being made fun of by the teacher. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but she said something along the lines of, "Look, I want all of you guys to pay attention for this semester, because I don't want you guys to turn out like some students who have to come back down and take this class as a junior or senior." And maybe she didn't intend to make eye contact with me while saying that, so I will give her the benefit of the doubt. But I definitely felt the type of way in that moment. And I remember lunch hit. When I seen lunch came, I just said to myself that I can't do this. And I walked out of school, right? And it wasn't like oh, I can't, I'm not strong enough to deal with it, because I could have just stayed, right? But I felt it in my heart to walk out. So I did. I walked out of school. I even prayed. I said, "God, if this is what you want me to do, then I will do it." So this is what I ended up doing. So I walked out, and my mama ends up, she checking my attendance. That's how she was. She was really strict on like my whereabouts and things like that. So she sees that I'm not in school, and she calls the principal saying that I walked out, right? Basically snitching on me. You feel me? So I get in school suspension. Now I go into in school suspension, and one of the counselor comes. Now, mind you, this is my third high school. It's a new school for me. The school counselor comes, and he starts talking to me. And me and this counselor come up with a plan in order for me to be able to get back on track, right? To be able to graduate. And we basically made a plan that I will be able to graduate before, or I'll be able to graduate before like my 4 years is up. I wouldn't have to come back as some super senior for my 5th year, right? And that was my goal. So I was like, okay, bet. But that would have never happened if I would have never walked out of school. Like, who knows? Maybe I would have never had that plan, right? Now then, fast forward, that plan didn't go to work. Let me just say that. Fast forward to my senior year, and I do the same thing again. Same thing. It's literally the exact same. And then in the in-school suspension room, the teacher that overlooks it, I will never forget him. Him and my counselor and the teacher that's next to the in-school suspension room and the principal, I will forever have nothing but love and respect for them. Because when I went into that in-school suspension, I didn't feel judged at all. When before I felt dang near discriminated against, because the school I was going to, it wasn't like some. I've been to ghetto schools basically my entire life, since like 5th grade up until by junior year. Junior year was the first time I stepped away from that. So it's like when I was going there, it's like I always felt like I always felt people just judging me. You know what I mean? Like by the way I talk and things like that, the way I act, the way I move, just in everything I did. I was getting searched because people thought I was flipping stuff, like, you know. But when I got to that room in my senior year, I just didn't feel judged no more. Like they truly did just value me, and I'm grateful for that. But the reason I'm even saying this whole story is because there will be things that are put on your heart that most people wouldn't agree with, that maybe not even you agree with or even understand. But I want you to know that if it's put on your heart, follow it. Trust in it. Trust that God knows what He's doing. And as long as you can clarify that it is God and you can pray about it, it takes more than knowing the word to be able to know God. The Bible is not how you know God. Knowing God is how you know God. You talk to God like it's a friend. You can only learn so much about a friend through text messages. I viewed God the same way. You can only learn so much about him through reading the scripture. If you want to really get to know him, then speak to him. Stop having all these other people pray for you, and you pray for you. Pray for yourself. Anyways, y'all, that's it. I hope y'all have an amazing day.